Well, good morning and welcome, everyone. Oh, I wanted to start this special way. Hold on. I spent a lot of time thinking how to start the live stream. Captain's log, star date 2021, February 28th. Harking back to those episodes of Star Trek that opened our eyes to some really interesting concepts, some really interesting contexts, and exploring new ideas that up until that time had been untouched, just a brilliant series. So here we are on that same journey, really, to discover new possibilities in how to live our lives. So this whole month of February has been a contemplation of some esoteric ideas that really we find antecedents for them in the Bible. So we started with the breath of life, breath, the holy breath, breathe on me, breath of God, so sacred. And we talked about the bread of life. Jesus said, I am the bread of life. And what is that bread? It's what feeds our souls at every level in the deepest parts of our being and meets the need that we hold to experience love, because love is what we are. And then the tree of life, such a spiritual symbol of our connection with the earth and sky, the world of material substance and the realm of thought and mind connected within us, because it's a metaphor for our very being, the tree of life that lives in us. Such esoteric things. Are they practical? Do they have an application to our day-to-day existence? Well, for me, I can't live without being anchored in an understanding of the ultimate reality of being. To not know, to be in unknowing, is to be in confusion. And in confusion, we are weak. We are subject to divided consciousness, to frittering, to wasting our psychic energies. So I feel that these lessons, although they don't teach you to go out and say, okay, though I will do this and not that, they are still critical in being established in truth. So I actually so enjoy this process, this conversation, this articulation of ideas that they're the basis of everything, but they're not that out in front of everything. They're not part of our everyday conversation, although they are mine. But anyway, so our final piece today is the light of life, most sacred. This would be, I think, the most elevated, exalted of all of our subjects. So let's get started. I wanted to tell you my little granddaughter, Aurora, who's going to be 5 in April. And she loves those jokes, knock, knock, who's there? Why did the such and such do such? Cross the road. So she came up with a joke. Becky, my daughter, her mother tells me that Aurora asked this joke. Why did the soul cross the road? Yeah, to get into its body. Oh, God. She's not even 5 yet. Okay. So I think she did get that idea, though, from a recent Disney movie that I've heard about, but I haven't seen it, so I don't know. So here we go with the light of life. In cosmology, Cosmology is the study of everything in the cosmos. It includes quantum physics, everything, includes all science. In cosmology, light is one of the mysteries. What is it? Spiritual light and physical light have very different properties. Now, in quantum physics, the smallest subdivision of light is called a photon. And photons do carry energy in them. But that's about as far as I can understand them. But in physics, light has to travel. But in spirit, light dwells omnipresent. One of the astonishing factors about light is that we cannot see without it. Is there any such thing as light that is not holy, that is not spiritual, that is not of God? Let me read you just a few key sentences from the third verse of John. In him was life, and the life was the light of men. And the light shineth in darkness, and the darkness comprehended it not. That was the true light, which lighteth every man that cometh into the world. Magical words. Magical words. That phrase, the light that lighteth every man that cometh into the world, has been just something that lives in my heart as one of the most potent truths that we have. So the light that lights our being is very similar to all these other distinctions we've been talking about. It's very similar to the breath, because the light that lights us represents the divine consciousness that abides in us, which is very similar to the soul that's represented by the breath. It overlaps with the bread that is the love of Jesus Christ, that sustains us and radiates to all the world. It's very similar. It overlaps with the tree, the symbol of eternal life, the symbol of the overcoming and mastery of duality. So these distinctions are almost interchangeable. I don't deny that. Still, it gives us more, it gives us a richer access to spiritual experience to have this vocabulary. So light is the description of mental awareness specifically. Perhaps we can compare heart awareness to the presence of warmth, and mental awareness to the presence of light, because this mental awareness, this light of life, is not particularly evocative of the warmth of the heart, although it paves the way for it. Okay. So light represents divine mind. Light imparts wisdom, guidance, understanding, knowledge. Light gives us enlightenment. It gives us awakening in the realm of mind. When we go into a state of contemplation, we open our minds to the light of God, to divine light. So I want to use a candle today. Let a candle represent you, your soul that is of a divine spirit. And here's my candle. Isn't it cute? It's about the size of a shot glass. It's never been used. And for those who come to the gathering at 11, we have one of these for everybody to light. So I want to use a candle to let the candle represent you, your soul that is of divine spirit. You know, a song tells us, take your candle and go light your world. Because that is what we have the power to do. In this earth plane, darkness exists in the form of ignorance, suffering, fear, lack. When we bring light into any situation, in the form of our attention, we improve it. Sometimes it is simply lack of awareness that can completely transform a situation with light. And you are that light. So I invite you to get a candle, get it in hand, and light that candle. So I'm going to do the same right now. It can be any kind of candle. I hope you did see in the email that I sent out to bring a candle to the live stream. I'm going to give you a couple more minutes because I know it takes time to find something to light it with and find the candle if you're not ready. I've discovered part of the reason that I've been having so much trouble with my hairstyling is because I'm losing hair. It's falling out. It's the after effects of having COVID. I've been reading about that. And it's really the body's cleansing process. It's like when you have a long time of fever, the body just kind of cuts the roots of the hair and sheds it to get rid of what's being held in the hair. So I'm allowing this healing process to progress through me. And I know that whatever my body needs to do to heal is intelligent and orderly and proper. Even if my hair goes away. Okay. So, with our lit candle, just imagine yourself going out in the world and using that flame, just like you use your very presence to bring awareness into the moment, to bring greater freedom and uplift the atmosphere. Imagine the light of your inner flame joining with every soul on earth to banish the darkness of negativity and allow peace and acceptance, abundance and prosperity to come forth. Imagine that a state of order, cooperation, peace, and prosperity settles on the land and fills every heart with assurance, love, and trust. This is the power of the light within each of us, the light of life, the inner light. So just let that light fill your field of vision now. Know that light abides within you. Know that light signifies the presence of God. Always follow that light. Always allow that light to be your guide. Always know that you are a light yourself, and that you are a being of light, a being that brings light to all the world. And that light enables the highest good. That light enables love to prevail. That light enables the soul to be free. And it enables our lives to be filled with miracles. Now, I want you to think of a time when you brought your light into a situation. You might not be able to think of it while we're sitting here together today, but I want to hear about these stories. I want you to reach out to me and share a story about a time when you brought your light into a situation and it made a difference. So since I've had time to think about this, I have one for you. So this is a story when I did so, when I brought my light into a situation. So when I was a mom, my kids were, I'm still a mom, but my kids were half grown, and my younger daughter, Becky, she wanted very much to get into performance art, plays and performance. And so there was an organization in our community, and it was called Catherine Meisel's Modeling Moppets. And it was a mother-daughter organization that put on little performances in the, wouldn't you know, the one time I didn't turn my phone off, it rings. Can't even find it. There it is. It's a 1-800 number. Okay, sorry. So, the organization, they put on a musical variety show once a year, so that the girls who did these shows in the nursing homes for the older folks, retirement centers, because their families couldn't come and see them perform, so they put on a show once a year called the Bunny Benefit. It was always in the spring, and there were bunny costumes that they always had to use for the opening number or something in the show. And they needed somebody to direct the show. The lady who had been directing it retired. And since I had been in a civic theater production of The Sound of Music as a nun, didn't even have a speaking part. They said, "Oh, you do plays. You could be the director." But as a matter of fact, I had secretly fantasized myself as the director of that show. So I took it on with great excitement. And I was the director of the show for 7 consecutive years. And toward one of the later years, probably like the 5th year, there was a new member of our mother-daughter organization. We had meetings once a month, and it was a family where both of the parents were college professors. The mother was a professor of anthropology and a archaeologist. And so her child, who was in the modeling Moppets, a little girl, she was only 6. That was the youngest you could be and join. Was getting ready. We were rehearsing to do the annual benefit show. And the little girl was brought to the rehearsal. We had two big rehearsals before the show. She was brought to the first rehearsal by a nanny. And the mothers came to me in a sort of a delegation and said, you can't let that little girl be in the show because our rules say that every child has to be accompanied by their mother and not anyone else. So as it happened, the reason that the mother had sent the nanny with her daughter was because she had been called to an archaeological dig and she had to go. And I just couldn't live with that. I couldn't live with dropping the little girl from the show because of that. But yet, it wasn't my place to go against the rules. Well, the founder of the organization, who was really the final word on everything, Catherine Mizell, I sat up late one night trying to think, what can I do to change this? So I wrote Catherine Mizell a long letter saying, what had happened. And I said, but what is the purpose of our organization? Isn't it to honor children? And how are we honoring children by letting this little girl, drop out, by dropping her out of the show? Because what choice did her mother have? She did the best that she could under the circumstances. And so Catherine Mizell decided to take action, and she told the mothers, we're not going to drop this little girl from the show. So that's the end of it. And the wrap up of that was that after the show was over, it ran for 2 days. We did a performance on a Saturday and a Sunday. And about a couple days after the show was over, I got a little note from Catherine Mizell saying, thank you for stopping me from doing something that I know I would have regretted. So I really sweated that one out. But I think it's a good example of bringing your light into a situation and shining it in the darkness of judgment, the darkness of separation, and bringing together in a purpose, a higher purpose, which was our purpose in that organization, to honor children, bringing people together under that purpose. That's what all of us needs to be about, our Father's business doing. You see, that everyone in the collective of humanity must keep their vision on the higher purpose that we are, to come into a cohesive, cooperative team of human beings for the greater good, managing all of our needs, managing life on earth. Charles Fillmore writes in his book, Talks on Truth, he writes, the earth shall yet be made paradise by the power of love. You are the light of the world. Let your light shine. Now, I would like to spend a little time meditating without the candle. So I'm going to blow the candle out. I'm going to read you the words to this lovely song, Go Light Your World, while you sit in contemplation, okay? So we just breathe into this moment of realizing how special, how powerful, how holy is that light that we are. There's a candle in every soul, some brightly burning, some dark and cold. There is a spirit who brings fire, lights a candle, and makes its home. Carry your candle. Run to the darkness. Seek out the hopeless, confused, and torn. Hold out your candle for all to see it. Take your candle and go light your world. Take your candle and go light your world. We are a family whose hearts are blazing. So let's raise our candles and light up the sky, praying to our Father in the name of Jesus. Make us a beacon in darkest times. Carry your candle. Run to the darkness. Seek out the helpless, deceived, and poor. Hold out your candle for all to see it. Take your candle and go light your world. Take your candle and go light your world. God bless you.